Mutual and Federal Interschools Rugby. We're here at Markotter in Stellenbosch for a mighty game between the hosts, the Roos Gimnasium, against the visitors from Paarl Gimnasium. And what a game it promises to be on a cool, crisp afternoon, but it is dry and a very gentle breeze blowing from the seaside of the Cape. With me this afternoon, it's a very good afternoon to Wim Visser.
Well, this will be a humdinger. Mutual and Federal Premier Interschools derby between Roos and Paarl Gim. It's pretty even Stevens in the last 6 years, both winning 3 games ahead. But Roos won last year 16 points to 10, so definitely Paarl Gim will want to get one up on them, especially here deep in Stellenbosch. Roos are hosting an unbeaten year, and they've just come back from Japan where they won the Sanex Championship in Japan. Paarl Gim hosting some big forwards. Ernest van Rijn will definitely want to lead from the front. Charles du Toit will be the go-to man to get over the advantage line, and with their exit plans. You can look at the spirit, look at the tradition. Schoolboys out there clapping hands. They'll be supporting the whole afternoon, both their sides. Roos, on the other hand, have had an amazing season. They're unbeaten to date. Joa Swart, their captain, will be the go-to man. Tall timber at line-out time. Elusive backs in Nico Leonard and Joshua Vermeulen. And Damian Willemse will definitely want to keep them in the correct areas of the field. Paarl Gim have won 3 out of 5. They've drawn 1, lost 1. They've had a bit of an up and down season to their standards, considering that they are a Springbok producing school. On the other hand, Roos unbeaten to date. They've had an exceptional season. They also went away to Japan where they won that Sanex tournament, and they'll be want to continue their winning ways in this Premier Interschools derby.
So the excitement mounts here at Markotter. There is a big crowd in, a lot of old boys. There's a lot of tradition in this particular derby between these two schools, and the teams are about to make their appearance onto the celebrated school ground, Markotter here in Stellenbosch. And here comes Paarl Gim, led by their skipper and head boy Ernst van Rijn. And what it means to these youngsters, a match of this magnitude, victory is paramount. They peel away and will be playing into what gentle breeze there is in the first half. There is the skipper, solid figure, motivational leader and a provider of ball. There is Paarl Roos coming out perhaps a little bit sedately, wearing the jerseys of tradition, not the traditional maroon, but the jerseys of 150 years ago, 150th anniversary of the fine school that is Paarl Roos Gimnasium. And they will now face their supporters. Both teams will face the main stand on the far side, and we will have a moment of silence for the passing recently of Maria van der Merwe, who was a teacher at Paarl Gimnasium. So the respectful minute silence to honour the stalwart teacher of Paarl Gimnasium, Maria van der Merwe, who passed away recently. And now the two teams are prepared. The week of preparation has been done. The motivation concludes now out on the park. And Vim, we are in for a mighty game this afternoon.
Well, this is going to be a massive encounter. One could say this is probably to date the biggest school encounter of 2015. Both sides are prepared, both sides are ready. Paarl Roos, full of history, full of heritage, and full of tradition. To date, they have produced the most SA players on a rugby field, with their last Jandre Kruger becoming their 50th, and Willie Leroux, the fullback, is one of their latest Springboks.
Damian Willemse gets things underway for Paarl Roos. Nicely taken by Miller Ace for Paarl Gym. They consolidate possession well early and get a little drive going, just starting to assert some early authority. That's a marker to be laid down by the men from Paarl. That is neat possession. The hoist is from Zach Burger. It hasn't got a lot of ground, and it's taken by his opposite number, Jos van Eerden, who presents well on the halfway line. The pick and go. Nice muscular beginning by these two fine schools, as Paarl Roos now have possession. Van Eerden away to Willemse. They decide to spin it. The little loop around from Christoph Bart. The pass is a poor one. Intentions good, execution poor.
Well, right in the beginning of this encounter, wide pass, not well executed, not finding his man. So Paarl Gim with a chance at line-out.
Johan Grobbelaar. Where's the intended target? Nicely taken by MJ Hayes, the captain's locking partner. And we've seen them maul already on occasion in this first minute, and they win a penalty here early doors. That's going to be a method that Paarl Gym are going to use well inside this first half. The advantage not gained. They'll come back for the penalty. And that's a good beginning, the forwards stamping down a mark of him.
Well, it's a good start. Johan Grobbelaar finding his jumper. MJ Hayes' support was good. But you could see already from the kickoff, they're getting the ball to the back of the maul, setting the platform. And the only way that Paarl Roos could stop it was by infringing.
Thoughts perhaps into this gentle breeze of having a dart for 3 points. That was negated. They've set up the line out after this penalty.
Oh, it's total control, side entry and collapsing.
More of the same looked for here, no doubt. Procedure, the catch, the drive, that's the 22 of Paarl Roos. This time they go to the front. Won by Miller Ace. Spinning the ball this time, out into midfield. Quick recycle wanted. It's slowed down by Paarl Roos. They may have turned it over on the ground. They have done. A little knock on by Paarl Gym, and Paarl Roos can get out of trouble through the boot of their fly half. Damian Willemse doesn't find touch, finds Nordia Wessels. Oh, that's a big hit midfield on Wiaan van Zyl. But he's done well to keep possession, and here come Paarl Gym again, using the width of the field out to Max Thelwitzer. He's brought down by Jason Myberg, as Paarl Gym will recycle tight up against the near side touchline. Back into the forwards. Show good ability to gain ground into Paarl Roos territory. Zach Burger gets his hands on it, lining flat. The dummy run was from Miller Ace, and they have it again. It's a good start by the visitors. The idea again inventive, but the execution poor. The pass from Wiaan van Zyl to George Lawrence was speculative, and his hands let him down.
A little bit too flat, George Lawrence, not timing his run. Should have been a soft little pop from Wiaan van Zyl. But it's been a good start to this fixture from Paarl Gimnasium. They've got control at the moment. They're maintaining possession. Their ball retention is good. Here and there, a little error coming in. Paarl Roos definitely need to settle down and find a bit of composure.
Well, I've only had 4 minutes, but that play has been inside the home side's territory. They will have an opportunity to feed the scrum here. In front row of Mama Sali on the loose head side. Aubrey Kutsia and Stefan Annandale up against O'Neill Tiat, Johan Grobbelaar and Rohan Hamman. The feed will be from Josh van Heerden. A little bit of pressure being exerted on those front rows, but that's good work by Paarl Roos. The left boot is towed into space. Was there a little hand there from Nordia Wessels? Yes, there was. That was a nice little left-footed probe, and perhaps a little bit casual, Nordia Wessels, in trying to gather that in. Paarl Roos with territory.
Oh, it was a good probing kick by Damian Willemse. And Nordia Wessels just fingertip knocking it on. So in the correct area of the field at the moment, Paarl Roos with an opportunity at scrum time. First scrum of the game, Paarl Gimnasium putting a bit of pressure on them. So they need to get a good bind, nice and tight, and set that platform.
Well, they're lining pretty deep out of picture here, Paarl Roos, as those front rows go down, and I'm looking at the size of the centres. Gee, they've got some big men that I'm sure we'll see used through the course of the afternoon.
Conditions slightly wet underfoot. There was a little bit of overnight rain, so these front rows that need to get up nice and close, not be overextended, keep their bind and maintain their body positions.
Van Heerden with the feed. Front rows go up again, pressure on the Paarl Roos scrum, and we will have them scrum again, will Mr. Ace. You can see the reaction of Paarl Gim. Already their forwards are starting to feel that they're in the ascendancy.
Well, it's all about body language, and the body language of Paarl Gim is very positive. You saw that front row when that pressure came on, all of them afterwards high-fiving, congratulating each other, getting one up on the opposition.
Fine.
Massive crowd you can see just above the scrum on the far side of the field. It's packed in around here at Markotter. Another tough scrum, this time a better one. This is Willemse. The dummy, a little bit of space for Vermeulen. The ball is loose though, it's untidy stuff. They've negated to use the centres on 2 occasions now. Look for the longer ball, but they've recovered well here. Paarl Roos carried up by Sean. Good defence this by Paarl Gim. 10 metres line, Paarl Gim territory. They go right. Oh, and almost an intercept as he stepped in there, but it's Abrams coming away. Good carrying this now by Paarl Roos. They start to get in the game. Van Heerden, a little pop ball, almost into the referee. They need to release it on the ground. The placing is good. Van Heerden again. The pass is beautifully picked up by Vermeulen. Now they've got a bit of space. Can they get it through their hands? Willemse tries to find a gap. A little backhanded pass. 2 sets of forwards diving it on the ground. Paarl Roos have got it again. Van Heerden, Willemse. Oh, bundled into touch. That's a really good tackle by Telwitzer. Jason Myberg thumped into touch as Paarl Roos made ground.
Well, that was excellent cover defence by Telwitzer. Lovely timing, smashing him into touch.
So under pressure now. Their line-out has been good though, has Paarl Gim. Johan Krobele will feed. Ernst van Rijn, the skipper, barking out instructions. Miller Ace at the front, takes it quickly. Flat ball. That looked a touch of high on Gustav Marais. Referee Ace allows it to proceed, and the exit was well executed, and that wasn't, as Vermeulen tried to put a boot on it. Coming across is Myberg to recover. Now Vermeulen on his own 10. Starts to run. Runs into trouble immediately. Caught by George Lawrence and driven back, and he's held up as well. They need to release this to Paarl Roos, otherwise it could be turnover.
Use it once.
There's the use it call from referee Ace, and it's been turned over. Paarl Gim come away. It's lovely work from Jao Swart. Now they will come away to the right. They've got numbers here if they can get it through the hands. The pass was not powerful enough away to Telwitzer. He's caught on the ground, and it's been turned over again, this time by Paarl Roos. All this battle taking away near the halfway line. Now chance for Rolf Burger to carry for the home side. Gives away the penalty, the second penalty of the match, and it goes to the same recipient as the first. Paarl Gim with a chance to gain territory up the near side.
Not releasing the ball at ruck time. What I like about this Paarl Gym side at the moment, the defensive lines are good. They are well organized. They are flying into tackles. And at the breakdown point, they're being very ruthless. Straight away in, over the ball. Body position is good. Turnover, penalty for them, and they have the first chance to take a knock-at goal.
Well, it was interesting. The first penalty was from a similar situation just on the other side of the field. And having won a line out and driven well, they decided to go for touch. This time, Lydia Wessels has been called upon by his skipper, Ernst van Rijn, to try and get the first points of the match on the board in the 10th minute. Long range, you can see just inside the half of Paarl Roos into what little breeze there is. Wasting no time. The strike is a good one. He's got the distance, that's for sure. And he has the direction. That's an excellent kick. And Paarl Gym are the first on the board here. They lead 3-0 after 10 minutes.
Well, deservedly so. Paarl Gym have started this game in fantastic fashion. They've dominated the tempo. They've dominated possession. And they lead 3-0 at the moment.
Willemse gets good hang time on that. Misses everyone. Off the boot of a Paarl Gym forward. It finds some space. Who's first to react? Oh, that looked like man played without the ball there, but nonetheless, Paarl Roos come away with it through Rolf Burger. He finds Milan Basson tight up against the near side, and he looks like he might have put a hand into touch. Not so, says the assistant referee. The carry now is by Stefan Annandale. Here come Paarl Roos again. Willemse sees a bit of space, puts it onto the boot. Tracking across is the man who put points on the board, Wessels, but fortunately for him, it was taken into touch far side. That was better play, that, from Paarl Roos, and good use of space by Willemse.
Willemse very intelligent. He likes to keep his side in the right area of the field. He's got a nice little left boot and right boot. Noticing that poor Paarl Gimnasium left wing, Abraham, was not on his line and just placing the ball perfectly into space.
So Paarl Roos with an attacking line out. Aubrey Coetzee will feed. And now they will counter more. That's a good carry and good drive by the home side. Can they reply with points here? Excellent momentum as they progress towards the try line. Will they try and carry it all the way with the forwards? No. Van Heerden digs in there. Willemse, he has a go himself. Caught just short. Van Heerden again. Bart, can he reach over? Yes, he can. What a reply from the home side. The old boys and the scholars here erupt. Christoph Bart gets in for the first try of the match.
Well, the build-up was too much. A good step inside-outside from Willemse. Placing that ball. Soft defense, one might say. Not getting in and on the tackle, but Bart doing very well. Showing some good strength, leg drive and determination.
Yeah, I agree with you, Vim. It just looked a little bit light on defense. There was opportunities to drive him back. There was 3 men around him. Now he will attempt to convert his own try. Successfully done. And immediately Paarl Gym got on the board to lead. Paarl Roos with the perfect reply. 13 minutes gone, 7-3 to the home side.
Well, it's all about the 3 Ps: persistence, patience and continuity. Definitely so here. The build-up was good. The start at the driving maul from the line-out was very, very good. And then, one must say, soft defense, slipping off tackles. Getting through too easy was Bart, but he showed a lot of strength and determination.
Wessels with the restarts, got good hang time on that. The restarts, the gathering in by the defensive team, both counts has been very untidy. And here, the error made by Paarl Roos, and coaches will cry at that. They've just got points, and then this happens. All they're saying is consolidate now.
It's a big thing, especially at schoolboy rugby, as the kickoff area. It is a contestable phase, and I've often seen it. Teams score points, get back into the game, and then start up with an error like that. It just puts you under immense pressure.
So here's Paarl Gym with a chance. The 22-meter line of Paarl Roos goes down the mouth of the scrum. H with a pickup, away to Zach Burger. Here comes Lawrence on the run, a lovely little inside ball to Abrams. Quickly over it though is Troy Payne. He's done really well to turn it over on the deck for Paarl Roos, and it's been counter-turned. What is going on? Steals on the ground, all happening, and it comes away for the try scorer. And he finds an excellent touch down the far side. It must have been 3 steals. Turnover, counter turnover from both sides on the deck there. Let's have a look at that.
It was a good carry. Paarl Gimnasium need to get numbers at the ball, but well stolen by Troy Payne. In and onto that ball straight away. Ruck had formed, so hands were in ruck there, definitely. There's bodies all over the place. A bit of a scramble at ruck time. Both sides need to correct that immediately.
Nicely taken in the line-out by Paarl Gim. MJ Hayes was at the back. And we've shown their ability to control a rolling maul. This is the 3rd one, and it's got nice cohesion. It breaks away now, splinters, but they've gained a good 15 meters up the center of the field, and they will come through Burger. Lawrence gets a good hit, but he brushes off. Try score a Bart, presents well. There's not much option away to Thelwitzer, so he puts it on his right boot, and that's well gathered by Josh Vermeulen just inside his 22. A low ball and well taken.
Get back.
Well, not much on for Thelwitzer. There's one against many. Just putting through a little chip kick, but well fielded by Joshua Vermeulen.
He hasn't found his touch. He's found Gustav Marais. Feeds on to Vian van Zyl, whose left boot is not struck as well as he would have liked. And that gives lots of time for Paul Roos through Willemse to look for territory down that far side.
Okay.
And another error. We've seen just too many errors. There might have been an argument that Lawrence said didn't go forward, but the referee's assistant on the far side made the ruling, and Divan Ace gives the call and the advantage to Paul Roos.
A couple of errors coming into this game in the early minutes. Divan Ace going straight down, but the referee, Mr. Divan Ace, judging that it went forward. So poor Roos will have a scrum and can set it up from there again.
Fine.
Whatever he may argue whether that did go forward, you've got to take that. It's a relatively simple take, lots of time. And here's a better scrum from Paul Roos. They hit the gain line with power. Myberg.
First player.
Has he been turned over? He has been turned over. There's been a lot of that, the loose forwards in the game, but the pass wasn't a good one, immediately putting pressure on Paarl Gim. But Vian van Zyl steps away, looks for a runner, finds Nordia Wessels, but it's all untidy for Paarl Gim. They need to just settle this down.
Use it.
Back in the pocket they go. Can't kick directly into touch. They will kick on to Vermeulen, who gets a kind bounce on his own 10. Chips to the far side of the field. There's the skipper, Ernst van Rijn, slips on this moist surface before he's cut down by the on-rushing Paul Roos defense. They need to get numbers there. There's no sign of a scrum off either for Paarl Gim. So the big fellas have to go in there and carry it forward. Miller Ace. Zach Burger looking for his options. Goes to the left boot of Van Zyl. And he doesn't find touch either. This is Willemse. On the halfway line, some aimless kicking. Now comes to something, as this is an excellent run by Myberg. Sadly, it comes to naught at the end. Just a period of tactical kicking that really wasn't well executed.
Nice step from Myberg in that wide channel, stepping inside. What he needed to do here is recycle that ball, but not able to place it. A couple of errors coming in from both sides. Both sides are vulnerable at that breakdown point, getting turned over too easy. It almost looks there's no one that actually wants to take control at the moment.
Yeah, you wonder if after 18 minutes the nerves of the importance of this fixture will have gone and they would have settled into their work, and we might start to see some cohesion. Immediate pressure on Paarl Gim. They win the penalty. Josh van Heerden just a little too early. He's not happy. He felt he was still on side, but penalised by referee Ace. And a chance for Paarl Gim to relieve their lines. Safe and secure from Nordia Wessels.
Good pressure from Paul Roos at the scrum. Just trying to jump the gun was Josh van Heerden on his opposite number, Zach Burger.
Penalty to Paarl Gim, a try by Christoph Bart for Paul Roos, which he converted himself. That's the scoring. Over the top goes the throw. Immediate pressure on the scrum half, Zach Berger. He's done well. Abram steps in there. This is Van Sale.
Over.
Lawrence midfield. They're very quickly up on defence. Oh, Paul Roos.
Was over.
And the turnover there again, beautifully executed by Laszlo Shawn. And away comes Paul Roos, using the big men midfield in that back line.
Use it.
Bart acting as a scrum half. Gets it up to Swart. Here they come again. Mamo Sali, a little bit of space work now. Out to Myberg. He's got some speed, but well defended. Vermeulen now has ball in hand, but under pressure. This is better on defence from Paarl Gim, as Paul Roos will come again. Forwards take it up a precious metre or so. Willemse with a dummy run. And now he's caught and the ball is loose, and a chance for Paarl Gim to counter through Johan Visser. They've got a bit of space for Wessels. Off he goes. Can he go all the way? This is a lovely run from Wessels to Telwitzer. Gets in. Under the sticks. It was turnover ball and they were made to pay. What a wonderful try from Paarl Gim.
Well, good play from Paarl Gim. From the turnover, spread it straight away. Nordia Wessels hanging onto the ball, cracking on the pace, but simple textbook rugby. Perfectly positioned Telwitzer, who finishes off.
As simple as you say, Vim, but beautifully done by Wessels. He saw the little half gap, straightened nicely. Once he felt the hands on his shoulder, he still had the presence to get the ball away to the speeding Telwitzer outside him, and made it look a very easy try. But they took their opportunity with the error made midfield by Paul Roos. And here's Wessels, kicked a lovely penalty earlier, with a chance to stretch now the Paarl Gim lead by converting the Telwitzer try.
Sorry, man.
Oh dear, oh dear. Will that come back to haunt him? He just seemed to wait for the kicking tee and then rushed it. They're still ahead because of this.
Well, this is a fantastic try. What made it was the straightening line of Wessels, the timing of his pass, and the support play of Telwitzer.
But in a game as close as this, those 2 points for the misconversion could be crucial. We'll mark that one down. 22 minutes gone, and again from the kickoff, the defending team make an absolute meal of it. Gee, Vim, you made mention of it the last time a try was scored. Every time points are scored, the defending team, all they've got to do is control the kickoff and set up and go from there again, and they've made a pig's ear of it each time.
Well, it's a vital area of the game. It's a contestable phase. The kickoff, if your fly gets good hang time and you get a good line speed and good chase and someone under that ball, it's a pretty difficult ball to take, but you need to have timing on it. Your lock needs to keep his eyes on the ball, and what's most important, you need support from your prop forward from behind.
So there must have been a little knock-on from Paul Roos, so they put pressure immediately on Paarl Gim, but they come away a little bit of confidence here as George Lawrence takes it up, presents well. Zach Berger gets it back to Bjorn van Zyl. He sees some space. Vermeulen has read it well and has time to gather now. In his own half, he sets off. Jason Myberg has had plenty of opportunity with the ball, but has lost it on this occasion. And here come Paarl Gim again, using the short side. Now they will come. Van Zyl was a little bit static before releasing the long pass. Miller Ace, the number 8, who's been down with an injury already, gets a crunching hit. Van Zyl sees some space. And away they come again to Paul Roos. Vermeulen, little backhander. Found a little bit of room. Willemse, infield to Myberg. Away he comes.
Hands out.
That was good continuity with not much space from Paul Roos. Carried now by Dean van Tonder, and then on to Jao Swart. But again, they give away a penalty on the ground. The momentum of the match, despite the efforts of Paul Roos, certainly with Paarl Gim.
Definitely so. Good work from Johan Krobelaar, the nuggety little hooker, getting into the ball. Look at the technique. Showing daylight and then going straight onto that ball and winning the penalty for his side.
Björn van Zyl. Useful to have the left-footed kicker kicking to this side of the field. Just the single point in it as we get towards the end of this first half.
Oh, we're going to see them set up their prolific driving maul. They've been good at it all afternoon.
Kobler wants to get the call from skipper van Rijn. Up they go. The nice take is from the captain. The feed down the maul. Immediately they go to ground. It stalls the momentum. They will pick and go.
Use it.
Referee Ace wants it used, and they'll keep it amongst the forwards. Now Burger goes to MJ Hayes. Supporters there, quick, turned over again. Christoph Barth, the try scorer, launches it over the head of the Paarl Gym defence. It's an ugly bouncing ball. Now Abrams sees a bit of space, and the nippy little winger sets off down the far side. Paul Roos turn it over again. Now they've done it on countless occasions. Laszlo Shaun takes it into contact.
No.
Jos van Heerden, good hands from Willemse. They're going a little bit laterally. The inside ball is to Milan Basson. Here they come through van Heerden. This is better. Tries to pop it up to Willemse, but he's lost it forward. Bit of a 50-50 pass that as they try and create something, and they've lost the advantage. It'll be a Paarl Gym scrum.
It's been the story of the afternoon. Turnovers conceded. Paarl Gym 6 and Paarl Roos 4. And that is what has kept Paarl Gym in this game, as they're turning over Paarl Roos on numerous occasions. And that's how they try occurred, is by spreading it wide quickly, and Wessels taking it up, straighting the line and finding support of Volwitzer.
Spun back to the returning Wessels, and that's an excellent touch finder down the near side. Just been off for a bit of blood wound. Briefly back on the field, the man who set up the try, and then an excellent touch finder down the near side, driving Paul Roos back to almost the halfway line. You didn't expect much less than this. A single point in it. It is going to be a contest. You can sense the mood in the crowd is rising all the while. Most of them supporting the maroon and white hoops, and they're trying to get behind their side now as Willemse carries once more. Wolf Burger, the big flanker out midfield. They need someone to straighten. Mohamed Sali is the recipient of that pass. Took it a little bit static. Van Heerden has a go. A little nippy scrum off. Immediately Paarl Gym over the ball, but well protected by Paul Roos. Slows down and they will go again. Willemse, he steps and steps again. Needs support. It comes eventually. So Van Heerden away to Swart. This is much better from Paul Roos. They're getting through the phases now as they've reached the 22. Thought of passing, held it in. A little bit more patience required. Burger out to Leonard. Gets it back in field, but the flag had gone up. But they will take heart from that passage of play as they went through the phases, controlled the ball before being shoved over the touchline.
Well, they did go through the phases, and they went about it going the direct route, picking and going, maintaining possession. A little bit lateral when they're going out wide. They're obviously trying to get the ball to Nico Leonard. He seems to be a fly on that right wing.
The Paarl Gym lineout has been secure, and it remains so through Ernst van Rijn. They'll crash it up towards the 22 through Gustav Marais. Now back to Wessels. Right boot, not a clean strike. He's gone off the side of the boot. No one wants it though, so they're allowed to bounce. And not much pressure from the onrushing Wessels. So space now for Paul Roos. Vermeulen decides to put it onto the boot. The cross comes beyond van Zyl, and he turns and has time to get onto his left foot. And he's found a bit of territory down this near side as Van Heerden is back. Up to Milan Basson, the number 8, runs into a wall of Paarl Gym defenders and could be turned over on the deck. Indeed it is. It was a bit isolated was Milan Besson, and it enables Björn van Zyl to look for territory behind Willemse, going straight down the centre of the field. Willemse with time looks for the far touchline in front of the singing students, and he won't find touch. He will find Miller Ace and Van Zyl, who slips on the greasy turf. And again, opportunity to exact a turnover presented and executed. Oh, he's lazy running there, coming back as they try to use Leonard on the short side, and a penalty goes the way of Paul Roos. My word, Wim, the turnovers we've seen, they are aplenty.
Oh, it's the biggest problem of this fixture thus far. Lazy running from the Paarl Gym player. So a penalty for Paul Roos. They need to settle down the nerves a bit, but both sides are not setting a target for their cleaners. And what both sides are doing very well as well, they're getting someone quickly in and over that ball to force the turnover and the steal.
Looking for ground down that far touchline is Vermeulen with the left boot. And he finds a good touch. So into the last minutes of this first half, and an opportunity presents itself. And it's an opportunity you can feel the crowd sense for Paarl Roos to get back into the lead. They trail in territory, they trail on the scoreboard, but they've had enough possession. Aubrey Kutsia to feed the line out. The target is Milan Besson. And the Maul worked well in setting up the initial try, and they will go again. It's splintered, so they'll have to set once more. Kutsia carries. Not gaining much ground, but keeping possession and keeping patient. It's all about the pick and go here, and they're getting the numbers behind the ball carrier, and on they go. A lot more purpose now. As he got isolated and he's held on, the opportunity to turnover presents itself, and once again the arriving player, this time it's Johan Visser, who gets the plaudits of his team for winning the penalty for Paarl Gym.
Johan Visser doing sterling work for his side. You could see the body language and the celebration from the Paarl Gym players, knowing that they'd won that penalty and stopped that sortie of attack from the Paarl Roos Gymnasium side.
Van Zyl won't find touch. Who wants it? Oh, nobody called for it. It's the big frame of Troy Payne. He hasn't had much opportunity to run, and it's turned over on the ground once again. My word, there's been so many of these. So Zach Berger has a little snipe at close range. Have they protected it better on this occasion? Yes, they have. Paarl Gym will spin it out. It's an awkward ball, and as such it goes loose. And the errors are creeping in as we approach half-time. And just when they've done the good work of turning it over on the deck, so the pass was poor and the knock-on came.
It was a poor pass from MJ Hayes. Just going slightly forward, so Paarl Roos opportunity. Centre scrum in the attacking zone of the field, left and right options. They're loading their left side. It's Joshua Vermeulen in their back line to try and create a bit of space. If they get some good hands and some straight running, it could be a 4 against 2 situation.
The scrum collapses and they will reset. It's so important to have a solid base here. Good field position, attack opportunity, good scrum needed. Now the packed house here at Markotter is becoming very vocal, particularly the students on the far side of the field.
It's funny, Brett, yes, the students are going off and they're cheering, but there's almost like a hushed silence around this field. It's almost like a disbelief.
Here goes Willemse. He looked for runners. Nobody was close at hand to offload to. The ball is untidy. Not well protected by Paarl Roos. In fact, knocked on the ground. Not enough people running close off Willemse, because he does look elusive when he's got the ball, and he's always looking to see a gap and just do the short offload. But nobody close at hand to receive.
There's the biggest problem for Paarl Roos is their handling errors. Willemse has been very elusive. He steps on and off both feet very well. And then the pick and go. Slight knock-on coming in. Problem is,
Steady.
As Paarl Gim are being ruthless at ruck time, they're counter-rucking.
Coming before the time. Not squaring.
Early engagement, the shoving early means that the free kick is awarded. And that's just what Paarl Gim would like. They want to take this slender 1-point lead into the break.
Let's go.
Seconds remaining in the half. Oh, they're going to run from inside their own territory. That's interesting stuff. So they carry it to midfield. They have a penalty.
High tackle.
High tackle.
Keep it lower, it's around the neck.
On the ball carrier. There's Gustav Marais. And just the errors creeping into Paul Roos' play. Mind you, there's been plenty of those on both sides, as the game has never risen to any great heights. Wessels will probe down the near side. Just enough time for another line-out.
Definitely around the neck from the Roos player. Another chance for them to set up this driving maul. It's been good for them all the first half as Paarl Gimnasium.
Nicely on the attack. That's the 25, 22 meter line to the right of your screen. Up they go to the skipper, Van Rijn again. He has been the principal source at this phase of play. Now they will get that rolling maul going. Are they trying to work the penalty to have a kick at goal just before the half? Or can they carry it all the way? Loses its momentum and breaks up, so comes to naught. So they will have to try something at midfield. Van Heerden's in there behind Robbelo to try and carry it on into the 22. Ball is loose, and they do win the penalty, and that's important on the stroke of the break. It can put Paarl Gim further into the lead.
Penalty going against Rolf Berger. Side entry. So a chance for Paarl Gim to add the extra 3.
You would feel that they deserve this lead. It hasn't been a great first half. There's been multiple turnovers. It's been very hard. Perhaps the greasy underfoot conditions haven't lent itself to speedy play, but the teams have tried to use the width. Paarl Gim have a slender lead, and it looks likely now through George Lawrence that they will extend it from straight in front. 8-7 becomes 11-7, and there goes referee Ace's half-time whistle. And an absorbing first half comes to an end. It's a try apiece, first by Christoph Bart after Paarl Gim had got on the board through the penalty, and then Max Thelwitzer with the Paarl Gim try. So that's the break here at Markotter. It's the visitors from Paarl Gimnasium who